All right, moving on. Can you guess which one this one is? Visual spatial. Visual spatial. Okay, so these are people who learn best visually and organize things spatially. They like and even need to see what you are talking about in order to understand or to take in information. And this is my highest, and so this is so true. People will talk at me, and if they don't bring inflection in their voice and so on, it just goes right over. I'm like lost. So these people enjoy looking at charts, graphs, maps, tables, illustrations, art, puzzles, videos, and movies. Anything visual, really. They think in images, or they actually create mental images when people are talking so that they can remember. So they actually need a little time to do that. Like, it doesn't, that's why I say pauses and so on helps them, because then they can kind of get it in their head. They're good at finding lost or misplaced items. I would have people ask me, where's this in your room? Because they're there and I'm not. And I go, oh, well, if you go and turn here and they'd find it. Now, actually, Lyme disease has not done me any favors, and part of that has changed in my brain, so it's very sad. I'm not very happy with it. They love mazes and puzzles. They enjoy painting, drawing, sculpting, designing things. They daydream a lot, and they do a lot of imagining. It's true. They easily read maps, charts, and diagrams. I don't like GPS. I would rather have a map. I use GPS now because I have to, but I actually, if I can look at it and I can figure it out, and there's little nuances on maps that you can't figure out, but it was like, if I could do that, I could actually feel the spatial area of where it was supposed to be. So it's kind of weird. So they have a really good sense of direction. They like to watch movies, slides, and look at pictures and photographs. Actually, I recently got an iWatch, watch from Apple. And the first thing I did was I put pictures on it. And it's great because it reminds me of people. So I pray for them when they come up, and it reminds me of places. And it's like I asked the God to put the pictures that I needed to see at that time. So, because it's a picture, it's so interesting. I added one here, don't get lost. I never used to get lost ever. So I had a very, very good sense of direction, but except when I'm plopped into the middle of a city and I don't know the city. So, skills: puzzle building, reading, writing, understanding charts and graphs, good sense of direction, sketching, painting, creating visual metaphors and analogies. True. Manipulating images, constructing, fixing, designing practical objects, interpreting visual images. So when you go to an art gallery and you're looking at a picture and you're like trying to figure it out, that comes more easily. So vocations: architects, artists, mechanics, engineers, interior designs, graphic designers, navigators. How many of you would identify with this intelligence? Cool. Ah, a little, great. So what can we do to include this into our teachings? Images.
Fun videos.
There's an image. Pardon?
Fun videos.
Fun videos. Yes, fun videos. Yeah. Absolutely. I've got videos for next week. Anything else? How about maps, charts, diagrams?
I finally use that a lot in my presentations.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, a lot.
Good. It's great. It helps. I think it helps a lot. So, well, it helps me because I'm visual spatial. That's funny. So, I'll tell you a funny story. They were trying to surprise me for my birthday, some friends of mine, and so they decided to, this is in Montana, they put a blindfold over me, and they were driving all around Lakeside, like randomly, trying to put me off, and I actually could trace everywhere they're going. And when we drove up and we finally got there, I said, "Oh, we're here." And my friend was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "I can feel the space. I just like know it." So it was hilarious. Oh my goodness. So I've become the navigator on Teams. It's just the funny thing about me.
That's so far out of reach.
Is it?
Yeah, we could not blindfold me and I wouldn't know where I'm going.
That's okay. You're stronger in other things.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yep.
I had like an uncle who was great at directions. Like if he'd been there once, he knows where to go.
Yep, me too.
Blindfolded.
Yep.
We had a student that Barbara was leaving with one time when we went down to South Beach. They drove for 2 hours and ended up back here.
Oh my God.
They didn't have a good sense of direction.
Barbara does not have a good sense. She would get lost in the backyard or something.
That's hysterical. Sorry. That's hysterical. Oh. All right. Next one's kind of fun. Musical rhythmic. These are folks who learn well through songs, patterns, rhythms, instruments, and musical expression. Yay! And they're easily overlooked in the traditional classroom. So they think in sounds, rhythms, and patterns. They often sing, hum, or whistle tunes quietly to themselves, or they'll wake up singing. I actually wake up singing sometimes in my heart, like it's internal, but I'm singing. They move and sing to music unconsciously. Sometimes they're distracted by it. But they can keep time rhythmically. They can play or pick up playing a musical instrument. I thought of you immediately. Respond to music either criticizing or appreciating what they hear, so their ear is tuned into what is going on. Sensitive to sounds in their environment and voice inflections. They remember songs. They tell you when a note is off key. This is where they cringe. They're playing music in the background. Okay, I've had conversations with people who are musical, and they're like, well, sometimes when you're studying, it's nice to have the music in the background. But if it's like totally amazing music, then they're totally distracted and they don't study. So,
That's why I put on classical music.
me too. Or soundtracks with no sound or no talk. Right?
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I always put music on while we're listening to Dominic, and I listen to the music.
Yeah.
Listen to it.
I can't do it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's everybody's different. It's kind of interesting. So music affects emotions. Wow, that's true. Either calming or exciting. Sometimes when I have to clean the house, I'll put on really hyper music so that it gets me going. Music helps express joy, grief, confusion. I think music helps in worship, but it doesn't mean it's the only way to worship. So, and I often worship in the car, singing at the top of my lungs. It's awesome. Or crying. So skills are singing, whistling, playing a musical instrument, recognizing tonal patterns, composing music, remembering melodies, understanding the structure and rhythm of music. So, vocations, musicians, singers, composers, conductors, music critics. I added worship leaders, and I also added sound engineers. So we actually have a recording studio in Montana, and so we have a school for recording on how to do sound engineering. So it's very cool. In 2020, when the whole lockdown came through, and I think it was in April, that I was thinking, what's this anime thing? And so I started watching, and the very first thing I watched was about a piano player, and it was so good. Like the piano, it was all classical, it was beautiful. And I was like, oh, I should try it. And so I ended up seeing something on Facebook about easy worship piano, which this is what I do. It's very easy. And I ended up doing that. And within like 3 months, I was playing like, at that point, like 2 hours. I'd sit down for 2 hours and play in worship. And it was like something inside of me that was waking up and coming back alive. I'm just going to say it that way. So that's why I was saying, is there a piano? Can I do that and by myself? And so I've been going during your worship and doing that so that I can actually do it, because it's a discipline, or it's discipline makes it's dead. It's actually so life-giving, and it brings me focus back on God. I actually use it as intercession over you all, over this base, over Montana, over whatever people come to mind. So over your wife came today. So so that, that's part of my life, my journey. So, but anyway, I feel like music is really important. So how do we incorporate it in teachings? It's not the easiest one to do, but it's not impossible. I mean, if you're incorporating videos, sometimes they have music involved. I kind of mentioned something I did in SBS that I remembered scriptures because of. Yeah, songs out of the scriptures. Mm-hmm.
Songs is good. Often people will write songs.
Yes, and actually letting them be a part of their application of whatever it is, have them do what they want to do. So we have people who are artistic, drawing a picture. We have people who are writers, writing a poem or some story. We have musicians doing a piece of music or a song, the melody and song lyrics. So there's different ways. I mean, you can have music within your class, but again, you have to be conscious of some people are distracted by it. So, and it's usually the musicians that are. So anyway. All right, we're going to move into the last 3, or 4. Actually, we're going to talk about the 4th one a little bit. Bodily kinesthetic. So here's a picture of different people. Got the sports people, the actors, and the tactile. So, touching. Yeah. Okay. These people learn best through activity, movement, and hands-on tasks. These type of children were often labeled overly active. That's why I said that. Okay. In traditional classrooms, where they were told to sit down and be quiet. Yeah. It's funny because you're going to see when you read through the thing, I've changed some of the words, but the word was sit down and be still. And I was like, that was really old. Now we say just be quiet. All right. They have a hard time being still. Generally good at sports and gymnastics. Generally. It doesn't mean they are. Generally can do mime, theater, or dancing. Again, not everybody that's kinesthetic is able to do those things, but they have a good sense of balance normally and have a good hand-eye coordination, so they tend to be athletes. So they process through body sensations, so they actually get feelings Another way, gut feelings about things. So instead of always doing it rationally, they can do it by their gut. They'll feel things by their gut. In fact, I work with people a lot now, asking them what their feeling is, and then when I notice that they're having a hard time saying it, I go, "Can you feel anything in your body right now?" Because actually, that's what's going on, is that they're feeling something within their body, but they don't know how to articulate the words. So, anyway, maybe good at mimicking traits, people's, their friends' best traits or worst traits, whatever. They can't usually have fine motor skills like typing, drawing, fixing things, sewing, crafts. So they can do the little tiny things, They communicate through gestures a lot. They need to learn by moving, acting out, and doing, or they need to do those things before they sit down and learn. And I'm going to say it that way too, because I think I've already said that if you're kinesthetic, go exercise before you have to sit down and study. And if you're doing a long period of study, time it out. So, okay, I can go 15 minutes and I'm going to have to get up and I'm going to run around the house and then I'm going to sit back down. And that helps people that are kinesthetic. They move, tap, fidget while sitting in a chair. They may need to touch people when they talk to them. So I notice that sometimes I'll be talking to somebody, I'll go, what?
Our friend Noah, the better the conversation, the closer he is and the more he touches you.
Lack of personal space.
Just like the closest he can get, puts his hand on your shoulder, and might even bring you in a little bit, just to a T.
That's awesome. I love it. They enjoy scary amusement rides, and it's not like the scary haunted ones. It's the roller coasters and the, things that are fast, and it's fun. Skills: dancing, physical coordination, balance, sports, hands-on experimentation, using body language. Crafts, acting, miming, using their hands to create or build, express emotion through the body. And vocations, obviously, athletes, dancers, actors, physical education teachers, firefighters, mechanics, surgeons, because surgeons do the fine motor skill. They use that skill in there. Who identifies with this? Yes. Okay, I definitely do. I think it's my third, but anyway. How can we bring this into our teaching?
What I was talking about to do was that stretch.
Have breaks.
Exercise, breaks.
Yes.
Workshops,
Workshops are great.
creating things,
Creating things.
building Jerusalem,
Awesome.
acting out.
Yes, acting out things. Especially biblical stuff sometimes can be good to have them act out stories.
Because that means the visual and the kinesthetic.
Yeah.
Because as long as you have the kinesthetic people doing it,
Yeah.
the visual people watching.
Yeah. I was in Malaysia teaching in the Malaysia Penang base, and our Titus project was supposed to go to Myanmar. This is in 99, and it was September 9/99, and they thought there was going to be a big bad thing that was going to go happen in there, and so they didn't allow us to have visas to get into the country. So we were in Singapore, so we bussed up to Malaysia, talked to Melanie. Melanie, can you use the Titus team? She says, sure, they can come and teach in our schools. So we were teaching how to study the Bible, and you always use Philemon. And so we were doing that, and so for the application and to get them involved, because we were learning all these things, we had them actually act out part of the story. And one woman who was actually she was older, she was, in her 30s, I would say, at least. And she was acting out. So we focused on Philemon, we focused on Paul, and we focused on church. So everybody picked, it was a very small group, but anyway. And she happened to be, I think she was Philemon. And so she was acting it out, and then she sat down and she said, I just realized, as she was acting out, she realized that she needed to walk in, she needed to forgive somebody. It was like it just sat down on her because she was becoming into the person of asking forgiveness, and she recognized that she needed to forgive somebody. It was very cool. It was like total download in the middle of an acting thing. So, yeah, it's awesome. God can use that. So, anything else? Any other comments?
I just find it interesting that I can highly identify with quite a few of them, but half.
Really?
Like completely disagree with the other half of this.
Yeah. So, what are the parts that you agree with?
Like gut feeling,
Yeah.
generally good at sports or gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy acting. Dancing is just not me.
Yeah.
I'm too lefty. Or right once I don't have them.
Maybe you suppressed the inner you.
Yes. You never know.
I actually was picked out to do a special dance routine in King's Kids, and I had no idea why they would do that.
School dance, Montana Lake Center. Outreach to Ukraine.
And I do know that I use my hands and gesture body language when I'm speaking a lot.
Oh, cool. I'm excited to see that.
Field trips. Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, field trips. That's great.
I'll be clear that.
Oh, yeah, good. You're looking at that because there's actually ideas down there. So,